The Antwerp Diamond Heist. The city of Antwerp has always kept a secret in plain sight. Beneath its quiet streets sits a district that moves more wealth in a single afternoon than most countries generate in a year. 80% of the world's rough diamonds pass through here, changing hands in small, unremarkable offices, guarded by men who rarely speak and cameras that never blink. In February 2003, someone walked into the most secure room in that district and walked out with more than $100 million in diamonds, gold, and jewelry. No alarms sounded, no one was hurt, and for 2 days, nobody even knew it had happened. This is the story of the Antwerp Diamond Heist, sometimes called the heist of the century, and the ordinary mistake that finally brought it down. To understand how it happened, you have to understand the building. The Antwerp Diamond Center sat on Schupstraat, a nondescript street in the heart of the Diamond District. Its vault was 2 floors underground, protected by what security experts considered one of the most sophisticated defense systems in the world. There was a combination lock with tens of millions of possible codes, infrared heat sensors that could detect body warmth.
Warmth. A seismic sensor tuned to pick up the faintest vibration of drilling. Doppler radar. A magnetic field surrounding the vault door, designed to trigger an alarm the instant it was broken. Beyond that, an armed security team patrolled the building around the clock. To the people who worked there, and to the dealers who trusted their fortunes to it, the vault was considered untouchable. That reputation is exactly what made it a target. At the center of this story is a man named Leonardo Notarbartolo. Originally from Turin, Italy, Notarbartolo was not a violent criminal. He was something more patient. A thief who understood that the best way into a locked room is to be invited in. Around 2 years before the heist, he rented a small office inside the Diamond Center itself, presenting himself as a multilingual gem importer. It was a modest arrangement, costing him a few $100 a month. But it came with something far more valuable than square footage, a tenant ID card, granting him 24-hour access to the building and use of a personal safe deposit box in the vault below. For the next 2 years, Notarbartolo did what any legitimate diamond dealer would do. He met with brokers, he built relationships, he became a familiar, unremarkable face in the hallways, and quietly, methodically, he studied everything around him. The guard schedules, the rhythm of the weekends, the layout of the vault, the placement of every sensor. At one point, he's believed to have installed a small hidden camera near the vault entrance to observe the combination being entered. He also used ordinary hairspray to coat the lens of a heat motion detector, dulling its sensitivity without triggering suspicion. Small, deniable actions. Nothing that would draw attention on its own. But Notarbartolo knew he couldn't do this alone. To pull off a heist of this scale, he reached out to a loose network of experienced Italian thieves that investigators would later nickname the School of Turin. The group that assembled around him included men known only by nicknames: Speedy, a longtime friend who would help manage logistics; the Monster, an expert in locks, electronics, and mechanics; the Genius, responsible for defeating the alarm systems; and a fifth man known only as the King of Keys, whose real identity has never been confirmed. Together, they spent months rehearsing, building a mock-up of the vault door to practice on, and refining a plan to defeat, one by one, the layers of security standing between them and the vault. By February 2003, they were ready. On the weekend of the 15th and 16th, while the Diamond District sat quiet, the team made their move. They entered the building using Notarbartolo's legitimate access, avoiding the need to force their way in. To bypass the vault's magnetic field alarm, they had earlier tampered with the screws holding the sensor plates in place, loosening them just enough while the field was briefly inactive, and securing them with tape so nothing looked disturbed. During the heist itself, they slid a custom aluminum plate into position to keep the magnetic connection intact while the vault door was opened, tricking the system into believing the door had never moved. To defeat the infrared heat sensor, one member of the crew worked behind a polystyrene shield, blocking his own body heat from being detected.
The lights were switched off to avoid triggering light-sensitive components, and to get through the vault door itself, they used a long, custom-built key paired with the combination Notarbartolo had spent months quietly gathering. Once inside, they used a crowbar to force open the security gate and got to work. The vault held 160 safe deposit boxes. Over the following hours, the crew forced open at least 123 of them, working through steel and copper doors with drills and hand tools. They left the rest untouched, not because they ran out of time, but because they had simply run out of room to carry more. Before leaving, they gathered up the surveillance tapes to erase any visual record of their presence, and did their best to leave the vault looking undisturbed. By the time they walked out, they had taken loose diamonds, cut and polished stones, gold, jewelry, and other valuables conservatively estimated at more than $100 million. Some industry figures place the true value considerably higher. It remains even now one of the largest jewel thefts ever recorded. And for a while, it seemed like the perfect crime. The vault sat undisturbed through the rest of the weekend. It wasn't until Monday morning, when an employee arrived for work and noticed the damage, that anyone realized what had happened. By then, the crew was already unraveling, though not because of anything the police had done. As the team split up to make their escape, Notarbartolo and Speedy were tasked with disposing of the physical evidence: gloves, tools, wrappers, anything that could tie them to the scene. They drove out along the motorway between Antwerp and Brussels and dumped a bag of trash on a patch of wooded land near the road, expecting it to go unnoticed among the undergrowth. It didn't. The land belonged to a local man named August Van Camp, who had a habit of walking his property and picking up litter left by passers-by. Sorting through the discarded bag, he found something that immediately struck him as unusual: a handful of loose emeralds mixed in with ordinary trash. Alongside them was a supermarket receipt and a half-eaten salami sandwich. Confused, and assuming it was simply illegal dumping, he called the local police to report it. It was a small, almost mundane phone call, but it happened at almost exactly the moment investigators in Antwerp were beginning to grasp the scale of what had been stolen from the Diamond Center. When police connected the emeralds in that bag to the ongoing investigation, they returned to the site and searched it more thoroughly, recovering additional evidence, including that partially eaten sandwich. DNA extracted from the sandwich would prove to be the single piece of evidence that broke the case. It matched Leonardo Notarbartolo. 5 days after the heist, on February the 21st, Notarbartolo made a decision that, in hindsight, seems almost impossible to believe. He returned to the Diamond Center. Whether out of arrogance, routine, or an attempt to appear unbothered, he walked back into the very building he had helped rob. Detectives from Antwerp's Diamond Detective Squad, already closing in, arrested him on the spot. Under questioning, Notarbartolo gave up the aliases of his 4 accomplices, but refused to identify them by their real names. Even so, investigators were eventually able to track most of them down. The man believed to be the monster was arrested in Italy in 2007. His associate, believed to be the genius, was extradited to Belgium that same year. Speedy was also located and sentenced. Each of the 3 received 5-year prison terms. The 5th man, the King of Keys, was never identified or caught. To this day, his real name and his current whereabouts remain unknown. Notarbartolo was convicted as the operation's ringleader and sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was released on parole in 2009 on the condition that he compensate the victims of the heist, compensation he never paid. When it emerged that he had violated the terms of his release, a European arrest warrant was issued. In 2013, he was detained at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris while passing through on a flight from the United States to Italy, and was made to serve out the remainder of his sentence, finally walking free in 2017. Throughout it all, Notarbartolo maintained a version of events that complicates the official story. In interviews given years later, he claimed that the heist had actually been commissioned by an Antwerp diamond dealer, who allegedly paid him to break into the vault as part of an elaborate insurance fraud scheme. According to Notarbartolo, the true haul was closer to $20 million, a fraction of the $100 million figure authorities settled on,
with the difference allegedly inflated by the dealer to claim a larger insurance payout. He has never named this alleged dealer, and the claim has never been substantiated in court. What isn't in dispute is this: the vast majority of what was taken from that vault has never been recovered. No diamonds surfaced on the black market in any way investigators could trace. No arrests were made beyond the 4 men connected to the physical break-in. The 5th man walked away entirely, and the full truth of who ordered the heist and why remains locked behind conflicting stories, unresolved motives, and evidence that was never fully tested in court. What lingers about the Antwerp diamond heist isn't just the audacity of the plan, or the 2 years of quiet preparation it took to pull off. It's the fact that a system built with layer upon layer of technological defense, considered by experts to be nearly impossible to defeat, was ultimately undone by something as simple as human carelessness. A bag of trash left in the wrong place, found by the wrong person. Somewhere, the King of Keys may still be alive, having never spent a single day answering for his part in it. And somewhere, in a vault or a private collection, or broken apart and scattered across markets no one is watching, more than $80 million in diamonds are still missing, waiting, perhaps, to never be found at all.